903 minutes. That's how long it took Fernando Torres to score his first Chelsea goal. But before that, in front of a roaring Stamford Bridge, he rounded David De Gea, an open net waiting, and somehow dragged the ball wide. In that instant, fans felt the curse of the number 9 come alive. A shirt once worn by heroes had turned into a weight that crushed even the game's deadliest strikers. Drogba never wore it, neither did Anelka or Costa. But those who did, from record signings to fading legends, reputations have collapsed under its spell. And now, the shirt has a new face. The question lingers, will history repeat, or will the curse finally be broken? The number 9 wasn't always cursed.
And a goal for Chelsea.
Mark Stein once wore it and kept Chelsea up with goals that helped avoid relegation.
What a great goal!
Vialli wore it briefly while being a player manager, adding silverware along the way. But it was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink who made it legendary. 87 goals in 4 seasons, a golden boot, and thunderbolts from 30 yards that shook Stamford Bridge. His most unforgettable strike came at Old Trafford in 2002, chesting down a Torre Andre Flo cross before unleashing a vicious volley into the top corner in a 3-3 draw with Manchester United. The roar from the away end, the stunned silence from Old Trafford. Hasselbaink was the last striker to wear the 9 with true glory. When he left in 2004, the boots he left behind proved way too heavy. From that moment, the shirt began to feel less like an honor and more like a burden, setting the stage for the curse. After Hasselbaink's exit, Chelsea needed someone to carry the scoring load. Enter Mattea Kezman, fresh off 105 goals in 122 games at PSV. Billed as the next Van Nistelrooy, Mourinho's new poacher. But the curse was stirring. Kezman froze, 4 league goals, constant offside, and little impact when it mattered most. Gone after 1 season, remembered more as a ghost than a champion. And then came Crespo, who first joined Chelsea in 2003. Wearing the number 21, scoring 12 in 29 games before being sent on loan to AC Milan. After Kezman flopped, Crespo returned for the 2005-06 season and finally wore the 9. He played 42 games, scoring 13, including some spectacular strikes. Yet even then, he never looked fully settled. Loaned out again to Inter the following season, he left Chelsea without ever cementing his place. The curse was beginning to take hold. Next came Khalid Boulahrouz, a defender, bizarrely handed the 9. He signed at the last minute in 2006 and was offered odd numbers like 45 or 47. He shrugged and chose 9. Mourinho was baffled, fans were confused, and rivals mocked. He made 23 appearances with no goals, 5 yellows, and 1 red, never looking at home. And after Boulahrouz, Steve Sidwell and Franco De Santo wore it briefly, without scoring a league goal. For fans, the shirt felt abandoned, waiting for a true heir. After years of disappointment, Chelsea rolled the dice once again, smashing the British transfer record with a £50 million purchase of Fernando Torres. At Liverpool, he was electric, 81 goals in 142 games. A striker who terrorized defenses with pace and precision. But in blue, he was broken. His first goal took 903 minutes, and his miss against Manchester United, rounding David De Gea, open net and dragging it wide, became the image of the curse. Yes, he gave Chelsea iconic moments, the Camp Nou breakaway in the Champions League and a Europa League final strike, but the weight of the £50 million drowned him. 45 goals in 172 games. It may have looked decent on paper, but fans knew it was decline, not dominance. Supporters cheered for him to the very end, desperate to see him succeed, but the spark never returned. And you might have thought the curse was done, but it wasn't. Falcao, once El Tigre, arrived on loan, already broken by injuries. One scrappy header versus Palace was all he managed. By Christmas, he was sidelined, and by summer he was gone. Another legend buried by the shirt. After Falcao left, Chelsea turned to Morata, signed from Real Madrid for £60 million to replace Diego Costa. Always the bridesmaid at Madrid and Juve, this was his chance to be the bride and lead a big team. He exploded out of the blocks, 8 goals in his first 8 games, a perfect hat-trick at Stoke. For a moment, the curse looked dead. Then came Arsenal away. 3 golden chances, 3 shocking misses. Confidence drained, body language collapsed, supporters lost faith. He finished his sole season as Chelsea's number 9 with 47 games and 13 goals, then ditched the shirt for the number 29. Within months, he was loaned out, and by 2019 he was gone, remembered more for his misses than his finishes. Chelsea had pursued Gonzalo Higuaín for years, under Mourinho and then under Conte, but by the time he had finally arrived on loan in January 2019, it was too late. Maurizio Sarri had pushed hard for his former Napoli talisman, hoping to reignite their partnership. Instead, Higuaín showed up overweight and out of rhythm, a shadow of the ruthless poacher who once terrorized Serie A. He managed 5 goals in 6 months, lumbering through matches short of sharpness and confidence. The optimism Sarri tried to inject quickly disappeared as fans realized the old Higuaín was never coming back. Another short-lived gamble. But then came Tammy Abraham, a Cobham Academy product. He was handed the 9 during the transfer ban under Lampard. He struck 18 goals in his debut season. Fearless runs, hat-tricks, late winners, and for a time looked like a curse breaker. But inconsistency, injuries, and Tuchel's arrival froze him out. Left out of the Champions League final squad, he was sold to Roma in 2021, where he exploded with goals in his first year. Fans felt like Chelsea had squandered one of their own, yet the spark faded again. Form dipped, injuries piled up, and now he plays in Turkey. Abraham remains a what-if, a homegrown striker who might have been the answer if given more time. After Abraham came probably the most infamous number 9 in Chelsea history, Romelu Lukaku, who returned to the club for $97.5 million. Chelsea's record signing and long-pursued target, billed as the homecoming of a striker who was once let go too soon. He scored on his debut, bullying Arsenal, and the Bridge believed at last they had found their answer. But weeks later came the Sky Italia interview, confessing he wanted Inter, questioning Tuchel, hinting regret.
Tornerò a giocare di là. Io spero veramente.
The hope of redemption shattered overnight. He was booed, benched, and exiled. 15 goals meant nothing. Fans felt abandoned more than disappointed. His legacy one of betrayal and self-inflicted exile. The curse had found its most infamous victim. By the time Chelsea turned to Aubameyang, it already felt like another gamble. Once Arsenal starman, he had just scored 13 and 23 for Barcelona and looked like he still had fire left. Tuchel trusted in his former Dortmund striker but was sacked days later. Under Potter, Aubameyang disappeared. 3 goals in 21 games, left out of the Champions League squad, fading from view. For Chelsea, it was another harsh lesson. The 9 doesn't revive careers, it buries them. But not every Chelsea striker failed. Drogba, Anelka, and Costa all thrived. Why? Because they dodged the number 9. Drogba delivered 9 goals in cup finals, battering Arsenal, Bayern, and Barcelona on his way to immortality. Anelka chose 39, and in the 2008-2009 season won the Golden Boot, and every year after gave Chelsea steady returns. Diego Costa wore 19 and bullied defenders, snarled through 2 titles in 3 years, embodying the chaos that defined Chelsea at their peak. The striker role itself wasn't cursed. The curse lay in the shirt, a trap for anyone reckless enough to wear the number 9. For 2 years, Chelsea left the number 9 shirt empty. During that time, they chased Napoli's Victor Osimhen, a striker who openly admitted he wanted Stamford Bridge. To fans, he was the one that got away. The board hesitated. The curse, the massive fee, the fear of another record flop. A club once fearless in its hunt for a striker suddenly looked timid. And in 2025, Liam Delap arrived from Ipswich and took the number 9. Strong, powerful, the classic English center forward. The media called it brave. Some fans called it reckless. Delap insists he doesn't believe in curses, but he wouldn't be the first to say that. And for many before him, those words marked the beginning of the end. From Kezman's penalty miss to Torres' open goal to Lukaku's betrayal, Chelsea's number 9 shirt has become a graveyard for strikers. For 20 years, legends have avoided it, fans have feared it, and players have been crushed by it. Now, the shirt belongs to Liam Delap, and the question is simple. Will he break the curse, or will he become its next victim?